Jodi and I are over at the theater filming segments for a TV thing. I got started in showbiz because my father hustled me for drinks. I was 2.5 years old, and I was singing cowboy songs. From this valley, they say, you are going. My father hated that. So he said, why are you singing all the time? Learn something good. So he taught me 5 Irish songs. So he'd carry me into bars. I was 2 years old, 2.5 years old. He'd put me on the bar, and he'd say, all right, boy, start singing. I'd sing the Rosa Trolley and Danny Boy, the pipes, the pipes. And these old Irishmen looked down and said, give that man a drink. He's too young. Give his old man a drink. So my father got 5 shots, 5 beers. We moved on to the next bar. And there was a church and a bar on every corner, so we could pray and drink all our lives. So that was my real start. But my actual theatrical moment occurred my senior year in high school. I went to a Catholic school. I went 16 years of Catholic school. The tick is almost gone. 5 years of therapy, I've almost got rid of it. Anyway, it wasn't that bad. Anyway, I had Christian brothers, wonderful men, and I'm at LaSalle College High School. Boys will be boys, but LaSalle boys will be gentlemen. The worst review I ever got, this performance, I got 30 days detention for this performance, and I'll explain what happened. I was, again, doing 10 Little Indians, a play that will haunt me, I guess, by Agatha Christie, and I was, to give you an idea how bad this production was, I played the first and only romantic lead of my life. Philip Lombard. I was so bad. And it was a typical high school production. In order to look older, my whole head was frozen solid with white shoe polish. I mean, it was just to weigh 20 more pounds. And I was smoking. Well, I smoked in those days anyway. So now the curtain goes up, and there's all these high school actors trying to look old. They've all got white shoe polish, and it looks like Brigadoon. There's puffs of white smoke coming off everybody's head. And they're all going, even the ones who couldn't smoke, of course. So the way the play goes, 2 people die at the end of Act 1, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers, the butler, and the maid. And so I'm Philip Lombard, and at the beginning of Act 2, I'm standing by the fireplace with my martini and my cigarette and my white hair, puffing my head and puffing my cigarette. And I see this sign over the mantelpiece. It's a poem, a children's rhyme, and I read it with this really terrible British accent. 10 little Indians sat up very late. 2 overslept themselves, and then there were 8. Overslept themselves. That last part fits Mr. and Mrs. Rogers rather perfectly, doesn't it? Okay. Now, good Lord. Right?
Good Lord.
Now, opening night, Catholic school. We got our girls from the local Catholic girls' schools. Yeah. So we have an audience of penguins, Christian brothers, priests, and nuns with their little white bibs sitting out there. And the curtain goes up on the second act. 10 little Indians sat up very late. 2 overslept themselves, and then there were 8. Overslept themselves. That last fart pits Mr. and Mrs. Rogers rather perfectly, doesn't it? So now, I realized, this is 1959.
Yeah.
People didn't say those things.
Didn't say fart.
They didn't say fart. So now, I'm up there and I'm going, I've never been on stage before in a play.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, maybe it's like a movie. Maybe I can fix this.
Do it over.
Do it over
Take
again.
2.
Take 2. So now I go, and now I'm nervous, the sweat. I've got big round things under my armpit. 10 little Indians sat up very late.
You did the whole speech.
Yes, 2 overslept themselves, and then there were 8 overslept themselves. That last fart pits Mr.
You said it again.
I did it again, only louder and with more authority. And I look out, and there are 300 penguins, an oil painting. Brother David, Brother Michael, Brother Aloysius, none of them happy with Pat Cronin. So the next day I go back to school, and I got 30 days detention.
Oh, no.
Well, I had a reputation of being a bit of a scamp, shall we say.
No.
Oh my goodness. And so they thought I did it deliberately, and I couldn't convince them that it was a mistake.
Twice.
Twice.